Election day is a little less than a week away. While many people have been voting early, safety at polling locations is a top priority of the NYPD, especially as rhetoric around the election continues to prove divisive. Just this week, we saw in Oregon an incendiary device placed to the side of a ballot drop box, setting it on fire and damaging hundreds of ballots. A suspicious device was also found next to a drop box in Washington. So how do officials here in the city work to make sure the same thing doesn't happen? Joining us now is CBS News law enforcement contributor and former deputy commissioner with the NYPD, Richard Esposito. Good to talk to you.
Good morning.
So what kind of preparation goes into keeping people safe on Election Day?
Mary, good morning. Like all good security packages, it begins with good intelligence, and that's how and then from there it's multi-layered down. And so what you'll see is, even as the polling places open, police officials are there coordinating with election officials, sharing information to secure the sanctity of the polling places. Uniformed officers from each precinct will be at each of the polling places in those precincts in a way that both protects and doesn't intimidate. It's a delicate balance always.
In your experience, what challenges do police face when maintaining order at polling locations, and how can these be effectively managed?
You know, the challenges start with everything from big lines of voters. And then, of course, you want no electioneering, no people in front of a polling place shouting out their points of view. You want to keep away anyone who's intimidating or threatening in any fashion. And police have done this pretty well. Each precinct does face-to-face handoff to make sure there's always an officer present. And then behind these uniformed officers, there are mobile teams of uniformed strategic response officers ready to move if there is an incident of any kind. And then there are plainclothes officers in each area moving through the city to just be ready should they be needed, and to watch to see if there's anything going on that needs to be dealt with.
In other states like Georgia, Michigan, Arizona, a lot of election officials have been threatened by outside agitators, although not in New York. Does that change the approach taken by police in securing polling locations?
We certainly pay attention in New York to what's going on in other places, and we also monitor everything online and look for potential threats like that. But we've had a pretty good track record of keeping our polling places open, safe, and comfortable for people to go and cast their vote.
And what measures are in place to protect voters from intimidation or harassment while they're casting their ballots?
Sure, that's an important question. There are officers outside the polling places, and there are officers, if necessary, inside the polling places with election officials coordinating to make sure that no one does anything to intimidate, shouting, standing in the way, attempting to influence a vote, or to just scare someone.
CBS law enforcement contributor Richard Esposito, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us.
It's good to see you, as always.